Hi, I'm Doug with Executive Cleaning Services, and we're just going to shoot a short little video here to show our customers how we clean windows, the details that really make us different from other people in the industry, as well as just showing other people that want to learn how to clean windows some great techniques. So we're going to spend a few minutes here, and so just, one of the basic things we do is we lay down a floor mat as soon as we come into the house, so we don't track into people's house. We also put shoe covers on, so we're not going to track around in your house. Just, little details like that, like putting towels under our buckets, moving blankets under our ladders. We even go as far as to have a wool bonnet on the top of our ladders so that if we're using it inside your house, it's not going to mark up your walls or your woodwork. So we're going to go outside, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the process we use in cleaning windows here. Actually, I guess I need to grab a towel. So what we use to clean windows is called a strip washer, and it's basically just a cotton material that's used to scrub the window. And of course, first we wet the window. If this is the first time we've ever cleaned your house, we'll typically scrape the window the first time. We do this because a lot of times there's a little bit of paint overspray here and there. Maybe a little bit of silicone on the glass if it's new construction, or just something that got missed during the new construction process, or sometimes just real heavy bug specks and things that don't necessarily just scrub off. So we'll do a quick scrub here. I don't necessarily need to do it here because this has been done before, but I'm just going to kind of show you the process that we do in scraping the glass. We always pre-wet the glass. If you do it dry, it can possibly scratch. And then as far as the process of cleaning, after we've wet it, after we've scraped it, we re-wet it. Really, our detergent's a pretty simple thing. It's just a good quality degreaser. You could really use any kind of dishwashing detergent. We happen to use Dawn, so it just works great, and I've been using it for 30 years. So, okay, here's the process. I don't know if you want to come up a little closer, Charles, so they can just kind of see how we do this. This is really what's called the fanning method. I'm going kind of slow just so people can kind of see the technique. It takes, quite a bit of practice to get really good at this. Now we also will wipe the outside sills. We'll wipe the bottom sill. We don't necessarily worry about it so much if it's way up high on the ladder and you really can't see it from the outside, but especially in areas that you're going to notice, we're going to wipe the sills on the outside. Of course, on the inside of the house, we're going to wipe all the sills. Once we do that, we're also going to touch up all the edges. We use surgical towels. They're a cotton towel. They tend not to streak. Some people like to use chamois, but they tend to, over time, build up dirt, and there's just issues with them. So we're real detailed in touching up all the edges. There's a lot of window cleaners that they won't even touch up the edges. They wet the glass, they squeegee it, maybe they wipe the bottom. Most of them don't, and they don't get any of those little details. I mean, there aren't going to be any streaks here. Our company actually gives a 30-day streak-free guarantee. So if we leave and that night you see a streak on your window, call us. No hassle, we'll come back and touch it up. We're there to give you a spotless window. So we want to give you the peace of mind that if you call, you're not going to be hassled. We're just going to come out and take care of the work for you. So we'll go ahead and go inside. I just wanted to give you a little brief of how we do it outside. If you want, you can just stop it. All right, I'm going to throw my shoe covers on just so we don't track anything in the house. Once again, it's all about the details, so we're gonna be careful that we don't drip water on your draperies and things like that. So just little details that we do. If there's a chair here, we're gonna pull the drapery over it so it doesn't drip down onto it. Here I can actually probably put it up there a little bit to hold it up, or I'll just hold it out with my hand. I'm just doing this more for the video. Normally I'd probably hold it out with my hand, but as you can kind of see here, I don't know if you can see, they've got dogs here. So this window is particularly dirty up here where the dogs are jumping up on it. That won't always just scrub right off. So I'm actually going to scrape that bottom part of the window because it's kind of a heavy buildup. And here, working on the inside, I'm actually going to use my strip washer to catch the water so it doesn't go all over the floor. I wipe that off so that it doesn't drip while I put it in my holster, so it's not dripping onto your carpet or the customer's carpet. Once again, we're going to use what's called a fanning technique. On the inside, I actually catch the water. And put it into this called a bucket on the belt. It catches all the water so it's not dripping on your carpet. And then I take my big towel. I'm going to wipe all this woodwork down below. And then I'm going to touch up the edges again. In the cleaning process, we typically don't touch up, we don't wipe down all this woodwork. If a customer wants that done, we would do it as an additional cost, but we do wipe the sill down here. Now, as you can see, we put our bucket on a towel. You know, if this was white carpet or something, and we happen to pick up a little dirt from the outside, we don't want that to track, you know, into the customer's house. So we take those kind of precautions in all areas. So let's go over here and we'll clean some windows here in the living room. Go ahead and shut it off again. Okay, we're here in the family room. We got a little bit different kind of window, so I just want to show you how we do these. This is what's called a crank out window. Simply means, you know, it cranks out. So, and when we figure up windows, how we determine the cost is actually per pane or per individual piece of glass. So that would be considered 3 windows, not 1, when we calculate our price. This one happens to have a screen on it, so I'm going to show you how we clean the screens. We don't charge any extra for the screens. It's included in our service. What we do is wring out our strip washer real good and use that to scrub the screen. We're actually going to clean the screen on the towel, so we're not going to get any dirt on your carpet or your floor. We're going to scrub it both sides. Sometimes if it's just a light dust on there, if my towel's moist, I can just thoroughly wipe that both sides. But we're careful to get it all up into the corners, the edges, overlap. We flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. If it's especially dirty, if it's got tons of cottonwood and drywall dust or something, if you have a new construction, we'll usually take them outside, brush them off first, and then we'll go through that procedure. Here's the crank out window. You know, a lot of windows we actually have what we call a one pull. This one's a little bit bigger, but just for demonstration here, a lot of windows will actually have cut to size. So you're not having to do the figure 8. It's simply just a one pull. And once again, we're going to wipe all this woodwork down. Typically wipe off the handle of your crank out. We're going to touch up, detail the edges. Now, as an additional service, we have some customers that like us to actually crank out the window, clean the sill, clean up around the jambs, but we charge additional for that service. That's not part of our normal service. I would say maybe 1 to 5% of our customers ask us to do that. And so what we do in that situation, we actually crank it out, and we're gonna wet down this jamb. We're gonna wipe down the sill, the other side, up the top, and this part. Those are all areas that can potentially get cobwebs, or spiders can make their nests in there, different bugs. So we're going to scrub that whole area. And then we're going to towel it off. Sometimes I'll just use a moist towel to do it all. And then as I close it, I'm careful to try and get it in all those little nooks and crannies. We charge an extra $2 to do that service. These weren't real dirty, but they can be really dirty. So that's a crank out window. And then we put the screen back in place. Now I'll show you something here real quick, just because these are a Pella window. Some of our customers have Pella windows. The way they open, these actually are a double pane. And they actually hinge open. Sometimes they can be a little stubborn getting them open. As you can see. And so these just open up like this, and we're able to clean those. Obviously, if we do that, there's twice as many sides. So instead of just doing the very outside and the inside, we're having the time to take it apart. We're having to do in between. So it's typically just a little over double the price because we got the time taken apart. And these are a newer Pella design that are hinged. The older ones actually have clips, and they actually lift out. They're called a DGP, a double glazed panel, and they're removed, and we clean them on a towel, and then we put them back after they dry. And of course, we'll put the screen back. You know, if you've got blinds, if you've got draperies, if you've got mini blinds over these, we try to be really careful to be detailed, to put them back the way you had them. If you're a real detailed person and you have them all at a nice even height, you know, we try to pay attention to those kind of details and put it back the way you had, so you don't come home and you got to adjust all the blinds and deal with all those details. Those are things that we try and really notice and take care of. So let's just go on to this patio door over here. I'll just do one more of these just so you see this technique, how we do it. Here we got the dogs. Typically if there's dogs, little kids, there's going to be heavy fingerprints that aren't always so easy just to scrub right off, so we usually just scrape them so that we get it really thorough. Around the handles. Once again, we're going to use what's called the figure 8 or fanning to clean them. And we're going to wipe all this down here. And touch up the edges. And I'll just show you a couple other windows, how we do those. Okay. All right, we got Charles here. He's going to show us how to clean these French doors. Hey Charles, how long have you been with the company?
I was going into my third year.
So what do you like about window cleaning?
I think the best part about window cleaning is actually taking something that's really beautiful, but has through the years or the months actually been tarnished a little bit and making it and putting it back to its original form. There's nothing better than a piece of clean glass.
Well, you're kind of a customer service guy. You like working with the customers too, don't you?
Yeah, the interaction's really good, and there's nothing better than a satisfied customer. It's like when you do a good job, the customer comes and shows you gratitude for that. That's a good feeling to have.
All right, well, let's show them how we clean French doors. As I said earlier, we have a lot of squeegees that are actually cut to size. And so for these little French panes, we actually have squeegees that are cut to the exact size of the piece of glass. So first we scrub them down real thorough. Then we got a squeegee that's cut just perfect to size. After we squeegee him, he's going to wipe all the ledges off with his towel. And then actually touch up all the edges with a surgical towel. We actually will move that, constantly be moving that surgical towel around so it's not wet and dragging wet around the edges and it starts to streak. It's just all those little details that give you really streak-free results. That's really what we like about the surgical towels rather than chamois. Chamois, as they get soiled, can tend to be streaking on you. Here Charles is working on the outside and just kind of wanted to show you our ladder setup. We actually we have these custom made ladders. The points are so that we can set them actually in between the windows. That allows us to get a little more detail and able to reaching up on the windows. And the point actually has, as you can see, actually has a carpet pad on it. So it's not going to damage your siding or your windows. So I just wanted to thank you for the time and watching this video. As you know, we've only showed you a brief example of some of the windows we clean. You know, over 30 years I've cleaned probably hundreds of different kinds and styles of windows. But we do it all. We do double hungs with combination storms, French panes, you know, the old windows. None of them are a problem. We've been doing it for 30 years. So, you know, to me, window cleaning really is the last step in a really good house cleaning. We have customers all the time say after we clean their windows, wow, my house really feels clean now. So, you know, examples, this house, you look out, you got the lake view, the sparkling clean windows, it just, wow, really makes a difference. Thanks for watching.